Let's talk about the number one thing that every horse should know. It's actually a combination of a few different things, and this can help on the ground or under saddle. Okay, so we're going to start on the ground with it, and we'll just get straight to the point. Our horses need to learn how to flex and bend their head and neck. They need to learn how to move off of pressure on their side and continue moving forward. So as opposed to a horse that understands a one rein stop, let's just say, that's when we are turning the head to the side around to us and we're looking for the feet to stop moving, and then we release that tension. We want to add on to that, because instead of just the horse spooking or taking off and us looking for that one rein stop, we want to continue with the forward momentum. So that's what we're going to be looking at here. Step one is going to be working on flexion. So for this one, we don't need our stick quite yet. What you're going to be doing is just what we talked about with that one rein stop. Essentially, we're looking for that nose to soften and turn to us and the feet to stay still. Good. See if we can get that again. And I'll show you what it looks like if they don't give you the right answer immediately. Again, I stand at their side and I'm looking for that nose to come to me. Now, it's normal for them to think good about moving their feet. So what I did there was I just stayed with him until his feet stayed still. He flexed his nose, he gave to the pressure, and then released. We're going to do this on both sides. Good. So all I'm doing is picking up the lead rope with my hand and lightly asking that nose to come in towards me. So this is the first step in working on this exercise with your horse. Flexion with that horse giving and the feet staying still. If the feet are moving, I stay close to my horse. There we go, good boy. And then release. Good, so after you have flexion, then we're gonna work on a little bit of forward movement. So I'll call this sending just for now. We're not gonna send necessarily traditionally, which would just be on a straight line through an area. We're gonna do it a little more on a circle. Step two is asking my horse to go out. I'm gonna point, ask with my stick, tap the side, and when he moves, I either stay still or I move forward with him. Good, so this is where we get that forward momentum coming in. Now you can see he is starting to turn that nose in towards me. That's something that he just kind of naturally wants to do. I'm not quite asking yet, but he's kind of given you a hint at what we're going to be looking at our end goal. Good, we're going to look at that on both sides. Now, when your horse is sending nice and soft, just like your release with the flexion, all of the energy comes down and you exhale to reward. So again, I'll ask him to come forward, and I'm going to move my body a little bit with him. Good. This is a little more what it's going to look like without that nose coming in right now. I have my stick up to mimic the shape of his body, and I'm moving forward with him. Step three is a little more complicated. I do have a video teaching the side pass somewhere very old on my channel, but we're going to be working on side pass, which is the rib cage moving. Sometimes with your horse, you might need to break it up to be the hindquarters and the shoulders. I have a video called my top 5 groundwork exercises, and you can see how I move those in that section. But we're going to take a look at directly what this side pass is. So once you're able to move the hip and the shoulder on the horse, we're going to look at the rib cage. I'm going to stay a little bit in front of my horse, and I'm just lightly tapping on the ribs. And what I'm looking for is him to move and cross in front and behind away from me. I'm going to directly move to the side with him. That's going to help him keep the momentum to keep going. Good boy. Let's try it again. So again, starting at his head, I bring the energy to the rib cage, and I'm looking for him to move off of the pressure. There, and release. Good, let's try the other side. Again, I'm going to hold the halter, stay a little bit in front of my horse, energy on the rib cage. Good, and we're looking for him to move laterally off of that pressure. Good, so now that we have our 3 steps, we have flexion, we have forward momentum, and we have a little bit of a side pass. We're gonna put this to play in hand. And the reason I like to start this in hand is because once we get going under saddle, it makes it so much easier for that horse to understand when our leg is on them, if something is spooking them on the side, instead of trying to turn them to it and face them up and let them snort at it, we're gonna ride right past it and ask them to lift up, move out off of that pressure from our leg, and keep their nose soft and supple with us. When we put this all together, we go into that sending position. My hand with the lead rope comes to the flexion position, and I'm gonna tap the ribs for him to step off and away. What's really important is that that hind end is tracking and moving away. The reason why this is better to have than a one rein stop, and I'm not saying to get rid of your one rein stops, because sometimes you do need to stop if you're not good, as confident of a rider. But the reason it's really important is because usually we'll be asking our horse to do something, and when we finally get one little piece of it, we stop, release, we let go, and we ask them just to stand still. When in reality, the horse was struggling to do this action while moving forward. So we're able to get a little bit of control with the body between the nose, the neck, the rib, the shoulder, the hip, while moving forward with this exercise. We're looking for them to move off of that pressure versus just shut it down and stand still and then send them back out on a loose rein. We want to be able to still communicate everywhere in their body when we're working with them. That's why this is really helpful. It's made a huge difference with my horses, whether it be on the ground or under saddle. Second side. So we get forward momentum. My lead rope can help the nose stay in towards me. And I'm looking good at that hind end, crossing and tracking over, and see how we lost the forward momentum there? That's when my stick then goes back into the sending position. I want that hind end to cross over, good, and him to keep tracking forward. Notice I'm moving forward into him during this. I don't want to be backing up and creating space for him to come. I want to be helping him move. Good, so this side's a little bit stickier than the other side. That's it, good boy. Hopefully from your angle you guys could see that, where he really was able to move that hind quarter out of the way when I was asking the ribs to move. Just to recap, on the ground, we look for flexion, we look for forward momentum, and we look for the rib cage to move out of the way. When we put it all together, we have a horse where we're able to ask them to bend their rib, lift their shoulder, move their hip out, and keep that nose and neck in towards us, all while keeping the forward momentum. We're gonna do this a little bit under saddle as well, just so I can show you guys how it transfers over. But it's really important when starting young horses, horses that you already are riding. This might be a big hole that they have. But keeping that forward going while you have the body control is going to be what makes the biggest difference in your horse being supple, soft, responsive, and also just understanding what you're asking better. I don't believe I introduced my demo horse either. This is Alfie. He is a 3-year-old warm blood who has been in training for a little bit over a month now, maybe a month and a week, just to be started under saddle. So this stuff is all pretty darn new for him. And I will show you guys what he's looking like under saddle too. You can do this with a bridle, you can do it with a halter, it doesn't really matter. He's gonna be wearing a bridle right now, but riding with the halter over it. He's just learning how to carry a bit. So everything you see him doing, he was taught with that halter on him, no different than the bridle. This will help you a lot with your ground control, a lot with under saddle work. And this isn't dismissing, you know, your halts, your backups, your horse understanding desensitizing, sensitizing. It's just a really important exercise that I think gets overlooked a lot. A lot of people aren't thinking about keeping the forward going when you have a struggling moment with your horse. It's usually just get them to move the body part and then stop. Whereas you want to think about them having to still go forward and accept that contact, accept that pressure. Okay, buddy. All right, so under saddle, you'll just start at the walk with them. And you don't want to think about having too much outside rein. A little bit more on the inside. And you want to think about that leg coming on to ask the horse to move off of it. So your circle starts pretty small. I want that nose to tip into me. Now, if he is tipping in and soft and quiet, releasing that rein. The other thing I'm doing, there we go, is with my inside leg, I'm asking him to step out and around. When I feel good, his hips step out, then I can make it a little bit bigger by thinking about doing a little bit of a leg yield out. Good. Now because he's young, I don't want to drill him too much on it, so I'm going to let him go kind of straight or flat right here, and then I'll ask him again to move off of that leg. And I'll show you how this can be useful, especially if you have a horse that is spooking at something when you're riding, if you need to get them to go to a specific corner under saddle. Rein to the, my leg is asking him to move off of it. If he's not responsive, then my stick comes down there we go, to support. My stick's gonna come down right near my calf. Good. And I want a little bit more from that hip there, and if I'm not getting it, I'm gonna ask his nose to come in even more. And I'm gonna keep waiting until that hip can offer. Good. Then I'll let him go flat again. We're gonna change direction here. So same exercise we were doing on the ground, just under saddle now. I'm gonna change the hand my stick is in. Always keep it on the inside here. Ask that nose to bend in a little bit, and my leg is pulsing. So just like on the ground, I'm not just keeping steady pressure on him asking every little step of the way, and if he gives and softens, then there's a release. Good boy. Good. There we go. Better. Good. So now if I push him up into the trot, can use the same concept of taking that nose in and pushing out off of that inside leg. Now if he starts to not respond, all we do is make that circle a little bit smaller, bring the nose in, similar to that one rein stop, like right here, he's not really moving off that leg. So I bring his nose in till I get a better response from his body. Good, then when he moves off that leg, I'll let him move out on his circle again. So again, it's all about being able to talk to the ribs, the hip, the shoulder, the neck, the pole. We're looking for softness. So right here, I'm asking him to move out. Good boy. Good. Same thing with that downward transition. I want that nose to come in a little bit and him to move off of that inside leg. Good boy. So now say I had him spooking at something. We're gonna say it's the letter M over here. I'm gonna make sure that I have his nose away from the object, and I'm really pushing his ribs towards it. Good. There we go, that was a good give. Same thing with any scenario where that horse might be spooking, whether it's on trail or in the arena. You want to try to keep that body straight and off your leg the direction that they're trying to spook. So normally he would be trying to move away from the letter and face up to it. Instead, I'm going to have his nose face away from it, but keep his body moving in towards it. Good boy. Good, so same exercise that we were doing on the ground with the flexing, moving off the rib cage and continuing to go forward.